Okay, everybody, we are back for part 2 of my pregnancy, hospital bag and stay, and bringing home baby and early mommy days essentials that I find as essentials. As I said in my last video, if you have not watched that one, I recommend you going and watching that one first. But if you didn't, no big deal. But as I said in my last video, these are things I myself consider essentials, but everybody is different. Everyone's preferences are different. Everyone's pregnancy, delivery, and coming home experience is completely different. So these are just, I'm going to share a little bit of my story. This is why these videos are so long. It's because I'm also sharing my story and explaining why I liked certain things for certain occasions. So don't come for me if you disagree with something. So I stopped our video with my at hospital things that I liked, things I packed, didn't feel I needed, some things I kind of wish I would have had. One thing I did forget to mention in my last video that I did pack along was candy. My husband packed some snacks for himself because, I mean, they have vending machines there, but most hospitals, their food, I got food every day. My husband didn't. The food is for me, not for him. And they were like, told me though, the nurse is like, I mean, but you can order as much food as you want. So, and I was like, oh, okay. But my husband didn't want anything. They're like, yeah, I mean, we can't stop you from sharing with him. If you want to order 3 meals, you can order 3 meals. But yeah, but my husband, like for the actual delivery, like he had his snacks and stuff, and I packed myself candy. I had Lifesavers and I had Jolly Ranchers. So things that, because you're not supposed to be like eating while you are in labor, you know, but candy you're allowed. And I even asked first, like always make sure you ask. Like this is stuff I was permitted, but your circumstance may be different. So if you're gonna like eat or drink anything, or of course just aside from water, they're not gonna tell you, no, you can't have water, ma'am. But if you want to eat or drink anything, please ask your nurse first, like, is it okay if I eat this or drink this? That's what I did. And they were like, oh yeah, you're fine, you know? And so yeah, that was something just kind of, you know, your mouth is getting dry. I was like drinking my ginger ale because I was puking because the medicine made me throw up. And also that's also a reaction when my body is in extreme pain is I puke. So I was puking quite a bit those first couple hours. So just munching on those was kind of help calming me down and just kind of have something in my stomach so I wasn't getting weak. It was keeping like my sugar up and stuff. If you're diabetic, I don't recommend packing candy. Forgot to mention in my last video was a mask. Make sure I have multiple masks. So everyone has their own mask preference and their own theories of what works, what doesn't. We're not getting into that, but hospitals are, of course, requiring masks. So make sure you and whoever's going to the hospital and staying in that room with you, be it your husband, your boyfriend, your mom, your dad, your best friend, whoever's in there with you, make sure they have their mask. They will not be allowed in if they don't have a mask. Now, we did not have to keep ours on the entire time. They said once you get in your room, you don't have to keep it on. Every hospital is different. Mine was clear back in July. So rules have changed a bit. I don't know all the rules now, but just make sure you put that mask right in your purse. Don't get into it until it's time to go to the hospital or in your, your hospital bag. Make sure you have that. So enough about that. Moving on to the baby at the hospital. Like I said in my last video, they provide so much stuff for you. So like diapers and wipes were all there for me to use. They give them a little hat, a little swaddle. You don't get to take the swaddle home, but you can bring the hat home, of course. But something that I would recommend is definitely pack multiple sizes because you just don't know how big your baby is going to be or how small. So I have right here, this is a newborn onesie. So tiny. I look at this and I'm like, did he ever really fit in that? Because he's like all bolder now. But like this is a newborn size. So this is itty bitty. Not as itty bitty as a preemie though. So on a preemie, this may actually be big, but I wasn't having a preemie, you know? So I packed this, and then this was not the exact one I packed, but it was just, this is actually a 3 to 6, but that kind of fits like a 0 to 3 month. There's baby clothing sizes is so weird, let me tell you. But I would pack like a newborn, a 0 to 3 month, maybe even a 3 to 6, because you just don't know how big your baby's gonna be. But the different sizes, you want a couple different things because you never know what can happen. My little guy, thankfully, was a pretty clean baby. And what I mean by saying that is we didn't have blowouts when he was first born. So, but a friend of my sister's had twins and they were bringing them home from the hospital. She gets them all in their car seats and they both had blowouts. So she had to take them out of their car seats, change their diapers, completely change their clothes. So make sure you pack extra clothes. This is what we brought our little guy home in. Oh, I almost cried whenever he grew out of this, because this was the first outfit. Not that I wasn't crying that he was getting big, because that's what he was supposed to do, and I was very happy he was growing. But this was the first outfit that I personally bought for him, because a friend of mine, she has 2 boys, she's done having kids, she gave me a crap ton of clothes, so I didn't really need more clothes. But this was the first thing I bought for him. This is a Burt's Bees onesie, and so I highly recommend one of these to come home in, and I will explain why. Even though we had him in July, I'm like, we're gonna be in a hospital's cold, we're gonna be in the car, we're gonna have the AC on, because otherwise we're gonna be dying of a heat stroke. So he's gonna be a little chillier. The AC's on at our home. Like, he wasn't gonna freeze his butt off, but we still want him to be comfortable. And of course I had like blankies for him in the car, and I had a little hat for him as well. But what I love about these is, of course, it's footed, and besides it being cute, you'll find these on a bunch of different ones. This isn't like a Burt's Bees only brand thing, but this is what I like, is on the sleeve here, it has this little pocket almost, and so you can flip that in, and it's a little glove. It covers them up, because baby's nails, oh, you waking up? Baby's nails are so dang sharp, and I've heard stories of people that are like, babies scratched up their face on their way home. So you can of course pack the little mittens that slide on. I did pack some of these just in case we had to have a wardrobe change. Pack little extra socks, a pair of pants or 2 pairs of pants. But this is what I brought him home in, so I'd recommend if you can get a couple of these, maybe get a couple of them. I just liked this. It was easy, convenient, and cute. While at the hospital, I did not get one of those cute matching little outfit things. I explained why in my last video, so I'm not going to go through all that again. But this was something. I had this little hat and this little swaddle blanket. This is not a set, but they matched pretty good in my opinion. So we took pictures of him in this. We didn't do a whole photo shoot thingy. It was just, as some people have time for that, we just didn't. We were just tired, ready to go home, but we wanted one cute little picture. So, you want to bring some swaddling blankets, especially for the car ride home. If it's winter time, obviously a bigger blanket than a little swaddler, but it was July. It was hot out. And a little hats, you want to pack some of those. One of these too. So make sure your car seat is already installed. Do not wait till the last minute, because those things are a pain in the butt to install. I have the Graco clip-in one, so it goes in easily once you have the base installed. But like a month in advance or 2 months in advance, get that thing installed in your car. We have 2, one in my husband's car, one in my car, and we had them both installed. We did it ourselves, installed them like a month before my due date, because I'm like, I want to make sure no matter what car we end up going to the hospital in, we can bring them home, So make sure you have your car seat already in the car if you can, or just at least have the base installed so you can just grab your car seat and go. But I bought these separate from my car seat. So this came in a 2-pack, so there's a bigger one, but that's in his car seat right now. So this is like a small one. He actually was too big for this one. This one's really, really tiny, but not every baby, would be. So pack both. I had them both in there when we went to the hospital. And then whenever we were getting ready to leave, I stuck them in there. I'm like, this one's a little too small, but if you have like a preemie or really, really tiny baby, you know, these are great. This kind of helps keep them in there, keeps them a little snug. And some car seats already come with these. I just bought mine separate because the one my car seat came with wasn't that great. Car ride home, another thing is, I don't know what these are called, but this is like one of those like donut cushions, because if you had a natural birth, these are great. Because when you're driving home, especially on these bumpy country roads where I live, you know, or even just the stop-go traffic, these are great because it just kind of keeps your little hoo-ha cushioned, you know? Well, not cushioned, it's the lack of cushioning, which is what's nice. This actually is for, like if you have like hemorrhoids or something like that, that's what this is made for, but it's essentially the same thing. Or if you just they make pregnancy pillows to sit on too. But someone I knew had one of these and offered it to me, and I was like, great. So I used that. I sat on that on the way home. That was really, really nice. Or even just a pillow, you know, just kind of something that you're not sitting on the hard car seat on the way home. So one of those I'd highly recommend. You can find that things like this at, I know I saw one at like Rite Aid. So you can find a lot of that stuff. Just like go into like go into the older people department, you know, like where the walkers and the canes and stuff are. You'll find things like that there. Another thing is diapers, and I'm not talking about for your baby. I'm talking about for you, sweetheart. At the hospital, they will give you like these like mesh underwear, and they'll give you like these huge pads and also like cooling pads, which are great. However, that was just way too much for me. I loved the cooling pad. Is that funny? But I packed along and ended up using, I asked like halfway through the day after I'd had them, I asked one of the nurses, I'm like, I brought like, depends. Am I allowed to change into those? She's like, oh, sure, go ahead, sweetie. I highly recommend getting yourself some Depends. I used the ones that were, they're like pink. Oh my gosh. I use the ones that are like pink and have little flowers on them and have a little like bow painted in the front. So they're a little cuter, you know. You're still wearing an adult diaper though. But those were so much more comfortable than like I mean, I'm not kidding when I say the pad is this long. I'm not even kidding. So I liked having, and then you're having to like trying to get it all in there, like, you know, the pad, the cooling pad, the underwear, like trying to get everything lined up perfectly. Whereas if you just have the full diaper and you can just put the cooling pad right in there with it and then pull up your underwear, it's kind of like whenever you're on your period and you have like a maxi pad on, essentially. So I'd recommend getting yourself some of those. You're going to go through those a whole lot. So get a lot of them. And it doesn't feel like you're wearing as much, but here's a gross story. I full on peed my pants multiple times. I'm not even talking like, oh, I kind of like tinkled out a little bit. Like full on, my muscle, I couldn't control it. There was no, oh, stop that real quick. It was just full on peed. That's disgusting. I know. Trust me, I lived through it. But I had that diaper on and it held it all. So don't think, oh my gosh, but if I like pee a bunch, I want one of those big pads. No, it's going to hold it. Trust me. So that's a gross story too. Just recommend it though. Another thing is pads for your boobs. These are, now this all depends though too. I'd recommend getting some just in case. You can find these really cheap on Amazon, at drugstores, you know, any store is going to usually have these. But this goes in your bra. So it just looks like this, and you just peel off the sticky stuff in the back, and you just stick it to the inside of your bra. So this obviously is to help with if you are lactating. Some people, their milk never comes in, so they don't need those, but it's something nice to have on hand just in case you do. And it's something that's inexpensive if you know, if you never need it. you're not like out $50 by any means. These are the Medela brand. I also used, I forget the other brand. It's in like a little purple box. So, but both of these brands have so many products for moms who are pumping or breastfeeding. They have a bunch of this kind of stuff. So this is a Medela brand, but there's another brand too that I can't remember the name of, but I liked it as well. Another thing for new mommies, for me personally, I started out breastfeeding. I breastfed for several days, and it's just kept getting a little harder and a little harder. And so I had him Monday morning, and then Wednesday, so that was like day 3 there. So Wednesday, I could not get him to eat. I ended up getting so engorged, and it was just bad. I was in tears. I hurt so bad. I mean, they were rocks hanging off my chest. It hurt so bad. He's only a 3-day-old baby. He needs to be eating like every 2 hours. He hadn't eaten in 6 hours. I couldn't get it out. I couldn't give it to him. And so I told my husband, I'm like, go get a pump. So he's running all over. He had to run 45 minutes away, was the closest place that would have something like that. My husband is running all over town. He first goes to the place to get one, and they're like, well, he said, you know, does insurance pay for this? Like some do. And they're like, well, they can, but your doctor has to sign off on it. So he's trying to get a hold of the doctor. The doctor's not in at that time. They'll say, we'll call you back later. So they call me. I'm calling my husband. Better? You got mama now? So doctor approves it. He'll sign off on it. So my husband has to run to the doctor's office, get the note, goes back to the place to get it. And they're like, well, it actually takes a couple days for it to like go through your insurance for them to approve it. And he's like, forget this. So he just went to Walmart and bought one. I was in so much pain by then, but he got it and it worked great on me. Not everybody can use a pump. My mom, when she had me, which that was 27, almost 28 years ago, or no, I'm only turning 27, 26, almost 27 years ago. My mom, she could not use it. It did not work on her. But that was a long time ago. I'm sure they've improved over the years. But for me, man, my milk was in and it was ready to come out. And it took a couple days to like get to a normalness. Thank goodness I never got mastitis, but it got really, really close. So I'm going to show you the pump we ended up getting here. This is going to be a little harder to show you now that I have him on me, but this is by Medela again. Oh, look at that big fuzzy on it. That is a big fuzzy. But this is like the whole thing, but it also doubles as like almost like a little diaper bag. So what I loved about this one, I'm gonna pan you down so you can see more. Where are you going? Yep, so inside here, you can keep like your bottles and stuff, and like these, you know, obviously is what it hooks up to. You can put what it plugs in here. You can put, it also came with a little cool, like almost like a little mini lunchbox, you know, that you can, if you have your bottles, you can put them in there to keep them warm or keep them cool, you know, if you need them cold for a long time. And then like, of course, the little motors in here. So how you work it. So what you do is you prop this up on a sturdy surface. I propped it up on like the little table next to my couch, and which I lift up here. So here's like the little motor. You have 2 of these. You hook them in here, one in each one, and then this then goes into, I'm gonna assemble one of these real quick. Here's the little one. Okay, so obviously there's a huge difference. These are 24 millimeters. So this is what it came with, and these, they kind of really irritated me. So I sized up to a 27 millimeter. So you assemble it, you stick it in here and you pump away. And you can adjust it on there of how much you want it to, like how fast or how hard you want it to, you know, suck on your titties. Okay. Another thing with the pumping, and I went strictly pumping because that's just what was working for me. This is by the brand Lancino. This is extra small to large. So this is one of those pumping bras. At first, I just sat there holding both the things up to me. You know, you're just like sitting there like this. That's really fun because then if you don't get it on there quite right, like, oh, it's not getting it enough, and it's a whole ordeal. So after about a week, I'm like, honey, go get me one of those bras. He goes, I almost bought you one, but I didn't know if you'd want one. These are about $20, at least this brand is. It also comes with straps. I never really needed the straps, but they're super easy to work. So what I would do is I wrapped it around me, and then you just take this here. So you take the suction part. This is the inside of the bra right here. So you're going to take it and put it through like this. So there's the front. Then this is where you take then the bottle and hook it on there. And then you hook yourself up to the machine. And then you bring it around. And then it zips up. Oh, I have it upside down. How about that? So then you take it. You're making this video hard, buddy. And zip it up. Zip it up there. So then, there you go. You look super cute doing this, by the way. But that was super nice. I could do it hands-free. I could sit there on my phone. Or then if I was, you know, if my husband wasn't able to take care of him while I was pumping, I could entertain him. I could even hold him. Let me tell you, that was fun. I even fed him with his bottle while pumping. Let me tell you, you can do amazing things. But I would seriously hold him like this while I'm pumping. He was a lot tinier back then. They also make the handheld pumps. When I was super clogged those first few days because I was so backed up, this came in handy. I could kind of really get the pace I needed. Or if I was going somewhere and didn't want to pack my huge kit, I could just like throw this in the diaper bag with a few bottles and do that. So, but this definitely takes longer. And then with this as well, this was like a whole big kit. This was sold separately. And then the millimeter, like the different size of suction cup things, I don't know what you call them, that is sold separately as well. So some stores will sell, you know, the different sizes there. My Walmart just personally didn't. I found the other ones off Amazon. But then also once you get done, you can just put that lid on. But I would highly recommend, depending on how well you're pumping, I got a bunch of milk. My milk came in really, really good. I personally bought the little baggies that you can date and say how many ounces are in there. Because these two, they say the ounces on the side. They use US ounces and milliliters. So whichever one you use, they have that on there for you. You drooling? So that was really helpful too. And this, you can put them in the baggies. A trick I used is I laid them flat first in the freezer. And then by the time I put my next bag in there after my next pumping, that one is frozen into a skinny, long thing. Because at first I was just like sticking the bags in there. So it like pooled at the bottom and it was like really, really fat and heavy at the bottom. And so they were harder to pack in there. But once I started laying them flat to freeze, once they were frozen, it was like this just nice slender. You could stack a lot more into like the side of your freezer. So that's just a little tip there. Another thing is, I talked about this a little in my last video. This is something that the hospital provided. You can, sometimes they'll do these with you or like help you at least set it up at the hospital. They let me take mine home because they have to just throw these away. They can't reuse these on people. So this is the Sitz Bath. So it comes with instructions, at least mine did. Where are you going? He's teething, so he's chewing on everything. So how this works is, I personally had to get creative with how I hung this up in my bathroom. I'm not going to go into all that. You'll figure out something. If your husband has to stand there and hold it, you're gonna make him. So what you do, make sure this is clean. So what you do is this opens up. This is like a hot water bottle basically. So you fill this up with pretty warm water, not like scalding. You don't want to burn yourself down there. But if you had a vaginal birth, this is going to feel so good. Some people recommend putting Epsom salts. I didn't. I just used water. So you fill this up, you hang it up, and then it comes down in this tube. So this has here where you can then stop it. You push this down. This is like a little, stops it. And so it'll run down. You hook it all into this. See if I remember. See, it goes in this way and then hooks into the middle there. So the water will run down in there. Once it fills up where you want it to, then that's where you would stop it. So obviously the water's going to cool off. So you set this right over your toilet, you know. Well, maybe you don't know. I didn't know everything. So this just sits right over your toilet. You push the lid up, and then the main seat, and this sits down in the bottom seat. So once you get it warm enough, and then once it cools down, you can just push that tube is open again, let it fill up with more warm water, close it off again. Now you don't have to worry about flooding your bathroom because it has the holes in the back here, and that then drains right into your toilet bowl there. So it's a huge help. It feels so good. I would like go in there and like have like my water and like a little snack, and I would just sit there for like maybe 15 minutes and it would feel so good. It was just nice and soothing down there. Also another thing that really helped down there was Padsicles. You can buy these. I just made my own because it was a lot cheaper. I bought a bunch of maxi pads. Ooh. I bought a bunch of maxi pads, and I personally used witch hazel and aloe in mine. So I would just open up the pad, pour a bunch of witch hazel in there, pour a layer of aloe, and kind of spread it around with my finger. I'd fold it back up, put it back in the little pouch. You got to open the pouch a little carefully, and then I'd put them in my freezer. So then I would take it out when I was ready, and they didn't stick together. You know, it will open, and it is freezing cold, and then I'd stick it right there in my Depends. And it's really cold at first, like, whoo! But then it starts just really numbing you, and it soothes it, and it really, really helped. What are some other things, buddy? Oh, the Peri bottle. So this is the one I bought. This is Synpel, the comfort you desire. So it comes in a little bag here. I packed this, but like I said in my last video, the hospital provided one, but I prefer this one. They make all kinds of brands of these. This is just the one I bought off Amazon. So it pops up like this. I know. You unscrew it, fill it with warm water, and then hold it upside down. This has a little cap on it right now. And then you just squeeze the water out. And so you hold it upside down like this, just go up and down. I really like this because you don't need to like get way down in there. You can kind of get down in there, clean everything out with keeping your hand kind of a distance from yourself. I believe that is it for all my stuff there. I really hope this video is helpful to some new moms out there, or you know, if you have a friend or family member that's expecting, I hope you share this video with them. I hope all your pregnancies and your labors go well, and congratulations to all you new moms out there, or soon to be moms. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.